So how do you crop a video in Davinci Resolve? Well, quite frankly, there are a lot of times when video just doesn't match up or it's not the right orientation or something like that, but you got to use it anyway. Well, there are several different things that you can do to kind of enhance the look of things, make sure they fit, and maybe even make it look like a multi-camera situation. I'll show you that in just a little while. By the end of this video, you're going to learn several different techniques that can really up your video game, even if everything has just been recorded either on one camera or even on Zoom. Make it look like a full studio production, just on how you can crop your videos a little bit differently. So let's get to it. This is a podcast that I work on quite a bit, and you can see it's a two-person podcast. You've got the host and their interviewer. This is their guest, and sometimes they just don't quite fit properly. So let's take this shot from Zoom and turn it into a multiple camera setup. You ready? Let's go. So one of the neat things you can do when it comes to cropping a video in Davinci Resolve, actually, this was filmed in Zoom, and you can tell it was filmed in gallery view, so everybody is on the screen. Well, there are times when I want the guest who's going to be doing the speaking, I want him to be by himself. And then there are times when the host is going to be asking a question, or maybe she's going into an explanation. I want her on the screen by herself. Not to mention, it's a really cool view that kind of makes it look like you have three cameras. So we've got the broad camera that catches everybody. We've got his camera and we've got hers camera. Wow, how did we get three cameras on a Zoom call? Well, watch, we're going to do a little bit of magic. So here we are in our editing view, and we're going to come up here to our effects. We've turned on our effects, and then we're going to search for an adjustment clip. ADJ, boom, there it is. It's under effects. So here's our adjustment clip. And what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on the guest this time, since he's doing the majority of the talking. So right now we're going to take the adjustment clip and we're going to come up to our inspector, and now we're going to transform it, mostly using these. We're going to zoom in and change the position. These are the ones we're going to mess with the most, and we're going to zoom in on just him and position him in the center. You ready? So let's move in just a little bit. Let's get him moved over here. Now that's where we're going to kind of want him, but notice we've still got some stuff going on with the sides here. So let's zoom in a little bit more, and then we're going to change his position a little bit. And again, whoops, let's get him more in the center. We're going to back it up, back it down just a little bit. And now because we have this stuff down at the bottom, I'm going to come over here to cropping, and I'm going to bring up the cropping a little bit so we can start to see the stuff down here. And again, we're starting to emulate the look of what we had just a second ago. Now I'm going to bring in this cropping on the side here. And that's how you end up just zooming in on him. Now watch what happens as we play it back.
2-year-old son, one day in the afternoon, my house was raided by SWAT. And
there you go. Now it goes back to him. Now we can do the exact same thing with a different adjustment clip and just zoom in on her and have her blow up, zoom in, crop it just right, and everything goes just the way it's supposed to go. Now, you would also notice that when we're over here, we've got both of the names up. Well, obviously, we would come up here to our lower thirds, turn off the Janet Boynes one, so only the Michael Howell one is lit up, and we still have our subtitles down below. And that is a great way to end up making it look like you actually have three cameras when you're really only working off of one. Now, next I want to show you a trick about what happens, what do you do when the film just doesn't quite fit? And I'll show you that in just a second. So there you go. Now all of a sudden it looks like you got three cameras. You've got one camera on the two of them, one on him and one on her. And there you go. We bounce back and forth, and it almost looks like a 3-camera operation. Pretty cool, huh? So if you've got any other questions or comments, some questions, let's say about some editing stuff or whatever, shoot a comment down below in the comments and let me know. Questions, suggestions, is there something you want me to make a video about so you can see how it's done? Let me know and I'll get right back to you. Now, this is another one that I was working on recently, and you can see that everything was shot the way it was supposed to be shot. The narration part is horizontal, but she went and filmed all of her demonstration videos in a vertical orientation. Well, we still need it to fit in a horizontal orientation, because if you try to put the vertical orientation over the horizontal orientation, look what happens. You can still see my fingers over here and the heel of my hand over here. Well, that's exactly how it's going to show up on screen too. You're going to have one little video down the middle and the other stuff from the original video down the sides. So how do we compensate for that? Well, let's take a look. So let's talk about another way how you can edit and crop a video in DaVinci Resolve. For example, this was a video that I worked on. Woman was talking about some fitness things that you can do in your everyday life. Let's start right here. Right here, she's talking about what the movement is. There's a general movement that you can do on a daily basis, and then she gives the example. Think of it like tying your shoe. So here she is doing her talking, and then she goes into her tying her shoe video. Well, notice the tying your shoe video doesn't exactly fit the screen. And of course, the way the timeline normally works is the higher the video, that's the one that ends up on top. So how do we get this video to fill in the rest of the space here? Very, very simply. Let's try a little trick. I'll show you a little trick that I used in editing this particular one. First, we're going to duplicate. Let's go ahead and unlink from the audio. We're going to duplicate this right here. In DaVinci Resolve, I can either hit copy and then move to another track and hit paste, or I can simply hold the Alt key and then drag it. So now I've created another copy. Well, I'm going to put this in the next video right there. So now, unbeknownst to you, we've got two of them here, but of course they're right on top of each other. So let's start with this one right here. You have to make sure that you grab the one that's quote unquote lower in the video stack. I'm going to lower this for you. Grab one that's lower in the video stack, because this is going to be your background and this is going to be your foreground. So first we're going to take this and blow it up so it's bigger and fits the entire screen here. So I'm going to grab my inspector. I've got the piece that I want. Here's the video. I'm going to zoom it. Notice how it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is, see that handle right there? See that? There's a chair right there. There's the chair. Here's the mirror. There's the mirror. We've just blown it up from here to there and from here to there. So now I'm going to make this not so distracting. So I'm going to come over here to my effects. I've opened up my effects. I come down to my filters, and I'm going to put the lens blur. See what the lens blur does to it? I'm going to put the lens blur on the one in the background. Now, the cool thing is it's still a video. So any type of movement, any type of movement that's wider than this, we're still going to see. So let's check it out right here.
Now for a second about tying your shoe. In tying your shoe, you hinge. Some of us use more of a squat, but all of us have to hinge. It's at the hip. Think about picking up a heavy box.
And there you go. She's tying her shoe, and we also have it in the background. You can see it a little bit. Now, if I want to make it a little more prominent, I'm going to take this, come back to my video element, and I'm going to raise that position. Now let's watch what just happened.
Now for a second about tying your shoe. In tying your shoe, you hinge.
And now you can see it's kind of lined up a little bit better. Now this element you recognize as the background. And so now we've taken up the entire space and used a vertical video to fill in a horizontal space. That's another great way where you can crop a video in DaVinci Resolve for a really great effect for a quick demonstration.
Now, I'm sure you've seen that technique used all over the place. People do that all the time, where obviously people on the street, they're shooting in a vertical orientation, but yet the news wants to carry it and they're going to display it in a horizontal orientation. And you've seen that blurred effect down the sides. Well, that's how you do it. And you can use it in your video now. So for extra tips or tricks or something like that, let me show you, once you've got all this stuff edited, you got to promote it, right? Well, you can do some very simple things by taking your main content and chopping it up into little tiny bite-sized promotional pieces. Click down below and you'll see in the description there's a link called Slice and Dice. Click on that and you'll get instant access to a video training that I published a while back, and it'll show you exactly how to turn that long-form content into short-form promotional pieces. Click down below, Slice and Dice, and get access to the training right now. I'm Nic Natarella with AdWise Creative. Thank you for watching.